Listen, I need to share something with you right now that could change everything about how you see yourself. You know those women who just won't crumble? The ones who've walked through absolute hell, faced lies, had their hearts shattered, been disrespected in ways that would flatten most people, and yet they move through this world like none of it ever left a scar. It's not that they've turned to ice. It's not that they can't feel anymore. What's happening is they're sheltered by something bigger than themselves. There's a presence guiding every step, carving out paths where there shouldn't be any, even in the moments when everything looks impossible. When you start recognizing these patterns, you'll finally get why she keeps rising, why every attack launched at her ultimately fails. So if this is you, or if you're becoming her right now, stay with me. Every word I'm about to say is holding up a reflection of the power you've been carrying all along. From the outside, it looks like isolation. People wonder how a woman like this navigates her entire existence without constantly needing company around her. No crew following her everywhere, no big productions, no fanfare. Just her moving through space with intention and this quiet dignity that speaks volumes. But here's what they're missing. She's never actually by herself. There's no emptiness in her world. She's not sitting around waiting for someone to notice her. She's not hunting for validation from strangers. She's connected to something profound, something most folks can't grasp because they're too distracted, chasing whatever's loudest. She's survived too much devastation to lean on people who were never meant to stay. She's watched relationships spin through her life like a carousel that never stops. Trust shattered by the very ones who promised loyalty. Left completely alone right when support mattered most, and somehow none of that demolished who she is. Bitterness never took root. Instead, wisdom grew. Those experiences taught her that certain people enter your story solely to show you how to stand without leaning on anyone. Once you perfect that walk, you realize the truth. You were covered all along, set apart, preserved for something far more significant. When a woman discovers how to move independently, it reveals she's reconnected with her authentic inner voice. Not guilt-whispering lies. Not fear-painting worst-case scenarios. Not manipulation twisting her thoughts. Her actual voice. The one speaking truth when everything around her tries to drown it in noise. The one alerting her when it's time to leave a situation, sever connections, extend trust, or hold it back. That voice never shouts. It's holy ground. It only speaks when there's stillness inside. That's exactly why she moves alone, so she can hear it without interference. She understands now that not everyone who shows up is bringing blessing. Not every group is actually safe space. Not every person calling themselves friend has earned that title. She's developed this ability to read what people carry, to notice when something doesn't settle right in her soul, to spot danger even when it's dressed in kindness. Once you've spent enough time surrounded by the wrong energy, being by yourself stops feeling like loneliness and starts feeling like freedom. It's liberation in its purest form. The kind that teaches you to actually enjoy your own company. That's what creates this untouchable quality in her darkness. Doesn't announce itself with obvious warnings. Sometimes it blends seamlessly into normal life. It's charming. It acts the part. People who constantly need others around them, who can't sit in quiet, they miss these signals completely, but not her. Because walking solo has sharpened something in her spirit. She doesn't need someone to spell out the danger. She feels when energy shifts. Her spirit communicates louder than any conversation, and her stillness keeps her completely aware. People constantly question how she's so content on her own. What they can't comprehend is that solitude revealed the difference between being genuinely valued and simply being used up. It demonstrated how to stop investing in people who never intended to give back. It taught her that real love isn't about convincing anyone to remain. It's about respecting yourself enough to release what doesn't serve you. She's no longer afraid of people leaving her life. She actually welcomes it. Because she knows peace costs too much to keep purchasing with her own energy. What shields her isn't something you can see with natural eyes. It's spiritual covering. It's the invisible hand, pulling her back from harm before it arrives. It's that inner knowing that whispers no when everything visible is screaming yes. That protection doesn't make headlines. There's no applause, no obvious proof, but it manifests in ways others never witness. The text she didn't answer, the appointment she didn't keep, the opportunity she declined that later revealed itself as disaster wearing a disguise. None of that's coincidence. That's divine intervention. And that covering grows stronger when she moves in silence. Because when too many voices surround you, their volume drowns your clarity, their perspectives blur your vision. But when you walk alone, your discernment gets razor sharp. You hear what matters. You operate from power instead of pressure. And that kind of power, evil has no access to it. Some people will misunderstand everything about her. They'll label her standoffish or emotionally unavailable. What they don't realize is her silence isn't walls keeping people out. It's sanctuary where she goes to restore herself. It's where truth speaks to her. It's where her strength gets rebuilt. Most importantly, it's where she becomes absolutely unshakable. She's not wandering aimlessly. She's not lost in confusion. She's not taking random steps. She's being directed. Every move she makes carries intention. Every path she selects holds meaning. Every quiet moment spent alone reminds her of something crucial. She's not vulnerable. She's not easily deceived. She's covered. And protection doesn't always show up looking like armor in battle. Sometimes it appears as silence. Sometimes as solitude. Sometimes as a woman walking alone but carrying the strength of thousands inside her. So when you see her moving through life with her head high, walking with confidence, nobody at her side, don't feel sorry for her. Don't assume something's missing from her life. Understand that she's walking in genuine power. She's aligned with her purpose. She's in a season where separation is actually protection, and she's never been stronger. She doesn't owe anybody explanations for how she moves. She doesn't sit around waiting for people to reveal their true nature before she trusts what her spirit already knows. Her intuition picks up on things long before actions make them obvious. When someone enters her space, she senses it immediately. Energy that feels off, tension that shouldn't be there, warnings that arrive without words. This isn't paranoia talking. This is awareness operating at full capacity. She doesn't wonder or guess, she knows. When she walks into any room, she's reading it with more than just her physical senses. She's seeing with her soul. While other people fall for polished presentations, impressive talk, and attractive packaging, she sees straight through the performance. She's not impressed by people putting on shows. She's not moved by masks people wear. She's been intimate with pain. She's looked deception in the face. She's survived betrayal that should have destroyed her. Once you've walked through that kind of fire, your spirit doesn't just heal, it completely transforms. Her awareness has become her armor now. Her quietness functions as her defense system. She pays attention not just to what's said, but how it's said, when it's said, and what's underneath the words. That uncomfortable feeling when someone's smiling at you but something in your chest is screaming danger, she honors that feeling every single time. That's how protection works for her. Not through fighting or accusations, but through recognition. She doesn't need to confront people to prove she's aware of their game. Her spirit has already confirmed everything. Sometimes she can't even put it into words. But when someone looks absolutely perfect on the surface and something still feels wrong deep down, she believes that feeling. She doesn't wait around for the drama to unfold. Doesn't need closure or explanations. She simply creates distance because she understands that not everything looking good is actually good for her. Not every open door is divinely placed. Not every person showing interest has pure motives. That's why she stays safe. She refuses to silence her inner voice. She leans into it completely because it's never once led her astray. That voice has prevented her from repeating painful cycles. It's warned her before disaster struck. It's protected her when words failed and people disappointed her. She doesn't announce when her intuition speaks. She just moves differently. When something changes, she adjusts accordingly. No chasing after people. No begging for what should be freely given. No guilt about protecting what's hers. She guards her peace unapologetically. She's not interested in proving points to anyone. She's focused on preserving what took years to build. Her peace, her vision, her healing journey. Darkness doesn't always arrive making noise. Sometimes it whispers sweetly. Sometimes it wears the friendliest smile. Sometimes it offers help with strings attached. That's exactly why her intuition has become her strongest weapon. She's witnessed kindness weaponized for manipulation. She's had seemingly normal conversations that left her spirit completely drained afterward. That's why she stopped judging situations with only her eyes. She listens with her spirit instead. The more she trusts that inner truth, the more finely tuned she becomes. Confusion can't cloud her judgment anymore. People who used to have access to her can't reach her energy now. She's learned the cost of ignoring what her spirit tells her. She's done it before, given chances that shouldn't have been given, stayed in situations long past their expiration date. Yes, she learned the hard way, but the key word is learned. Now she doesn't give darkness the benefit of the doubt anymore. Her shield is staying aware. Her gift is seeing without making it loud. She doesn't always need to call things out publicly. Sometimes she just removes herself from the equation. Sometimes the smartest move is no reaction whatsoever, no fight, just wisdom expressed through stillness. She doesn't argue with what her spirit has already confirmed. If something feels wrong in her soul, she trusts that completely. That keeps her ahead, miles and miles ahead. Some people will say she's too guarded, overly sensitive. But they have no idea that her sensitivity is actually her superpower. It was forged in pain. It was refined through lived experience. This isn't weakness speaking. This is wisdom walking. She doesn't ignore shifts in atmosphere. She feels them. She honors them. That's why evil can't easily access her. That's why manipulators get uncomfortable in her presence. They can't hide behind performance. She sees through every layer. She doesn't need evidence presented in court. Her knowing is quiet, but it carries tremendous power. And that deep knowing, that sacred intuition, that's what prevents her from stepping into traps, from believing empty promises, from entertaining what doesn't match her soul's frequency. She can sense shadows before they fully form. That's why she walks in light, not just the visible kind everyone sees, but the kind that allows her to truly see everything. And that kind of light, no evil can touch it. The enemy isn't worth her energy. That's not weakness talking, that's wisdom earned. She's been through too much to let small-minded people drag her into their chaos. She's observed how the enemy operates, not always through direct attacks, but through distraction, stealing focus, disturbing peace, trying to blur her sense of purpose. Once you understand that some people show up specifically to provoke reactions, not because they're powerful, but because your calm threatens them, you stop giving them the satisfaction of seeing you lose control. She knows exactly how to walk away, not because confrontation scares her, but because she refuses to waste her fire on battles leading nowhere. She's realized certain people appear just to create confusion, test patience, tempt her to behave out of character. But she's evolved past that stage. She's too grounded now, too locked into her purpose. Growth teaches you that silence can be powerful. Distance can be defensive, and peace becomes your victory. She's learned that protection doesn't always look like being completely shielded from storms. Sometimes it's having the strength to ignore them, to leave the message on read, to not show up for the fight, to refuse participation in the noise. That's genuine maturity. When you're not rattled by every push or provocation, when you recognize the trap and choose to go around it instead of through it. Some will absolutely try to disturb her peace. They'll attempt provocation using lies, guilt trips, and manipulation tactics. They'll push her buttons just to see if they still have control over her responses. But she's upgraded her operating system. She's leveled up her consciousness. She doesn't run on raw emotion anymore. She doesn't move on impulse. She walks with clear purpose. She knows her attention is precious, and she won't waste it on people who haven't earned access to her presence. That's the distinction between a woman who's wisely guarded and one who's simply reactive. A protected woman has learned to pause before speaking, breathe before responding, and think before taking action. She understands that certain people only want to drain her resources. They want to distract her from her mission. They want to shatter her focus because they can't handle how centered she remains. When you carry light around, darkness always tries to pull you into shadows, but it only succeeds if you voluntarily walk into those dark places. So she stays rooted. She protects her peace fiercely. She lets people assume whatever they want, talk however they choose, think whatever makes them comfortable. Because at the end of every day, her purpose speaks infinitely louder than their opinions ever could. She's not here to prove her worth to anyone. She's here to protect her energy. And that's what deeply unsettles wicked people. A woman who doesn't flinch, doesn't respond to bait, and lets her silence communicate louder than their noise ever could. When you don't react, you remove their power completely. When you don't respond, they're left talking to empty air. And when you walk away from battles that were never yours to fight, you walk away with peace completely intact. Her protection lives in that stillness, In the wisdom reminding her that she doesn't need to fight every fight. She doesn't have to win every argument. She doesn't have to explain herself to people determined to misunderstand everything she does. She knows who sent her here. She knows what lives inside her chest, and that's exactly why she doesn't need to prove anything. Some will call her cold. Others will say she's too distant, that she should have said something, that she should have reacted. But she knows the price tag attached to stepping into mess. She knows how easy it is to lose your footing when you're fighting in places never meant for you. So she doesn't argue her case. She doesn't defend her choices. She rises above the lies, above the drama, above the noise, because she understands that elevation requires separation. Each time she walks away from what was designed to destroy her peace, she's being protected. Each time she chooses silence over revenge, she's being strengthened. Each time she refuses to prove herself to people beneath her purpose, she grows exponentially. She doesn't take on every fight because some are just noise, some are obvious bait, and some are beneath the woman she's become. Her discipline functions as her protection. Her silence serves as her armor. And her victory? It's in the fact that she's still standing tall, still calm, still focused, still powerful. While the world tries pulling her down, she remains completely unshaken. She doesn't fall for the tricks. She doesn't flinch at the threats. She doesn't fight because she already knows the outcome. She's won. Not everyone deserves space in her life, and she's crystal clear about that. She's not chasing popularity contests. She's not trying to impress crowds. Her loyalty can't be purchased, and her energy isn't available to just anyone. She values her peace far too much to allow random people close access. Because once you've been betrayed, once you've been wounded by people you trusted completely, once you've encountered fake smiles hiding real harm, you learn lessons that change you. You learn that access to you must be earned, never just freely given. She doesn't keep people around just to avoid feeling lonely. She doesn't settle for surface-level friendships that drain her spirit dry. If it's not authentic, if it's not built on truth, love, and trust, she releases it without hesitation. She's not afraid of being alone. Actually, she thrives in it. Because in her silence, clarity arrives. In her stillness, she hears wisdom the noise would completely drown out. That's why her circle is tiny, not because she's antisocial or unfriendly, but because she's intentional about everything. She understands energy dynamics. She knows the people you allow close can either elevate you or destroy you. So she protects her space like it's holy ground. She's witnessed how evil doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it hides behind a gentle smile. Sometimes the ones cheering loudest secretly want to watch you crash. She's felt that particular sting. Now she listens deeper than surface words, watches closer than surface actions. She no longer lets labels like friend, family, or love blind her to actual behavior patterns. She doesn't need a crowd surrounding her. She just needs a loyal few. People who celebrate her without competing. People who don't gossip because their character won't allow it. People who don't smile to your face and scheme behind your back. And if she doesn't find those people, she's perfectly fine walking alone, because being at peace with herself beats being in chaos with others any day. She'd rather walk alone in truth than be surrounded by lies wearing disguises. Her spirit stays pure because she does the internal work. She doesn't just guard herself from others. She examines herself too. She confronts her own flaws honestly. She holds herself accountable for her part. She forgives, not because others deserve forgiveness, but because she refuses to carry bitterness around. That's her protection right there, refusing to let darkness grow inside her own heart. She knows what you carry internally becomes what you attract externally. So she releases hatred. She releases envy. She releases revenge, not from weakness, but from wisdom. She knows a clean heart hears more clearly. She knows blessings flow freely when there's no blockage in the soul. Evil grows in bitterness, and she refuses to water that garden. She lets go of the pain completely. She heals intentionally. And through that healing process, she becomes genuinely untouchable. Evil people can't use guilt to trap her anymore. They can't twist her emotions. They can't drag her into their messy games because she's not living from old wounds now. She's aligned with her purpose. Her tight circle functions as her shield. It's not about quantity. It's about quality and authenticity. Real recognizes real every time. Loyalty finds loyalty. And her life is built on truth, not attention-seeking. That's exactly why darkness can't reach her. It can't survive in an atmosphere this pure. A clean spirit exposes the filth in others automatically. It makes manipulators uneasy in your presence. It makes liars anxious around you. It makes users leave because they can no longer feed off your energy. She doesn't chase after people. She doesn't beg for love or attention. She doesn't force connections that don't flow naturally. If it's not mutual, if it's not sincere, she releases it peacefully. She understands that anything forced isn't right for you. Anything meant for her won't require her to sacrifice her peace. That's why she sleeps soundly at night. Not because her life is perfect or problem-free, but because her circle is true and her spirit is at rest. And no matter how deeply she loves someone, if they disturb her peace, she'll choose herself every single time. Because she's not afraid of being alone. She's afraid of losing herself in false connections. She's afraid of giving to people who only take. She's afraid of repeating cycles she worked too hard to break, so she stays guarded, not closed off, just wise. And when something feels wrong in her spirit, she trusts that feeling completely because experience taught her that peace is a compass and chaos is a warning signal. Her circle is made of people who don't need to be monitored. Their loyalty speaks for itself through action. Her spirit is pure because she's done the hard internal work. Her life is protected, not because she fights off darkness constantly, but because she doesn't let it through the door in the first place. That's why she stands tall. That's why she walks boldly through life. She's not carrying dead weight anymore. She's not dragging old pain behind her. She's not entertaining sweet-talking snakes. Her life is rooted in truth, and that kind of life cannot be shaken. Not by lies, not by betrayal, not by evil hiding behind kind words. Her circle is tight. Her spirit is clean, and that combination is her armor. There's something powerful about a woman who doesn't panic when storms arrive. While others are losing their minds, grasping for any sense of control, she stands steady, calm, firm, completely grounded. She doesn't let external chaos disturb her internal calm. Her peace isn't built on favorable circumstances. It's built on something stronger, something earned through experience, something forged in hardship, pain, and struggle. She didn't find peace because life handed her easy paths. She found it because life tested her repeatedly, broke her down, stretched her beyond limits, and she still refused to stay down. This kind of peace can't be faked or manufactured. You can't pretend your way into it. You can't borrow it from someone else's experience. You have to earn it personally. You have to walk through literal fire and not let the flames define who you are. You have to watch everything fall apart around you and still choose not to fall apart with it. You have to lose what you thought you couldn't live without. Say goodbye to people you thought were permanent fixtures and still rise with purpose burning inside you. That's where authentic peace is born. Not in ease and comfort, but in overcoming what tried to destroy you. She's not shaken by life's turbulence because she's rooted in something deeper than her emotions. She doesn't chase after closure from people who left. She doesn't demand explanations for things that don't make sense. She's discovered that peace often shows up when you stop trying to figure everything out and start trusting the journey you're on. She doesn't need all the answers spelled out to feel secure. She just needs her mindset to stay firm. That's why when trouble appears at her door, she doesn't panic. She's been through this before. She stood in complete darkness and didn't let it swallow her whole. She's felt fear run through her veins and still kept moving forward. She's cried through endless nights and still rose in the morning with fire in her spirit. She knows how to stay calm in the middle of absolute chaos because her peace isn't tied to the absence of problems. It's tied to the power living within her. People often mistake her stillness for weakness, but they have absolutely no clue what it took to find that stillness. It takes real courage to stay calm when everything's screaming at you. It takes inner strength to be kind in a world that encourages anger and retaliation. She doesn't argue just to be right. She doesn't fall apart just because things didn't go according to plan. She's learned how to move with the waves without letting them drown her. That's not just growth talking. That's protection. That's genuine spiritual armor. She doesn't need everything around her to be calm in order to feel okay inside. She builds peace inside herself first. She protects it intentionally. She nurtures it carefully. She guards it like something sacred because she knows people will try to shake her and life will try to break her. But as long as her inner world is in order, the chaos outside can't touch her core. That's why you'll see her walking through fire with a smile on her face, like she's strolling through a peaceful garden. Because peace isn't about what's happening around you. It's about what's happening inside you. And toxic people absolutely hate that reality. They hate that they can't get to her. That their mess doesn't move her off center. That their silence doesn't make her question herself. That their mind games don't work on her anymore. They'll throw shade in her direction, but she won't even blink. They'll try to confuse her, but she stays clear. Because she knows if they can't take your peace, they can't take your strength. So she holds on to it like her life depends on it. Because in many ways it absolutely does. She's not blind to reality. She knows storms will keep coming. Life has shown her that peace doesn't mean life is perfect. It just means you're no longer controlled by the imperfections. That's why she doesn't speak fear over her situation. She doesn't expect to fail. She prepares her mind. She builds her spirit. And she walks with quiet confidence through every low point because she knows valleys are temporary, but the character you build in the valley you carry forever. She doesn't need everyone to agree with her path. She doesn't explain her choices to people who only want to judge anyway. Her peace protects her from that trap. It gives her the space to move quietly, to pick her battles wisely, to walk away without needing to justify it, to focus on what truly matters, to breathe deeply, even when life feels heavy. That's real protection right there. Not from pain itself, but from reacting in ways that give pain more power than it deserves. So while others panic, spin in circles, and rush around frantically, she moves slowly. She moves with clear purpose. Because when your peace is whole, your vision stays sharp. You don't chase desperately. You don't fear the unknown. You don't collapse under pressure. You flow. You trust. And even when the world feels like it's falling apart around her, she doesn't fall apart because she's not built on worldly foundations. She's built on strength, on wisdom, on an inner core no storm can shake. That's how you recognize a woman who's truly protected. Not because life doesn't test her constantly, but because when it does, she remains steady. She doesn't let the noise outside mess with the calm inside. And that right there, that is the mark of a woman who's been through the fire and came out stronger. A woman who knows herself deeply. A woman who doesn't need life to slow down because she's already carrying peace within herself. There's something fierce about a woman who doesn't beg for answers, doesn't chase after people, doesn't hold on to what's clearly slipping through her fingers. When her spirit feels something shift in the atmosphere, when the vibe turns dark, when peace begins fading, she pays close attention. She doesn't wait for drama to unfold. She doesn't wait for proof to present itself. She doesn't need a big scene to confirm what her soul already senses. She just walks away. And she does it with her head high, full of grace, and most importantly, without looking back over her shoulder. She understands what many people completely miss. Peace is costly, and anything that threatens that stillness, that clarity, is too expensive to hold on to. She's not afraid to release what doesn't serve her, not scared to lose people who don't value her, not worried about disappointing those who expected her to settle for less, because she knows the cost of staying misaligned is far higher than the pain of walking away. Some might call her silence cold or harsh, but she knows it's actually clarity, it's strength, it's self-preservation. She doesn't entertain confusion anymore. She doesn't engage with chaos. She doesn't argue for validation from people who've already decided about her. When something feels off in her soul, she honors that feeling. She respects her gut feeling like it's sacred, because she's learned that sometimes your soul knows what your mind hasn't figured out yet. And if you keep staying where you feel empty, you'll start shrinking just to survive that environment. And she's not here to shrink into a smaller version of herself. She's here to live fully. She walks away, not because she's cold, but because she's healed enough to know the difference. She walks because she knows you can love deeply and still let go. You can forgive fully and still not open the door again. She's not bitter about her past. She's just not bleeding for people who wouldn't even notice she was hurting. That's not arrogance speaking. That's growth. When she walks away from situations, she doesn't slam doors loudly. She doesn't throw words around like weapons. She doesn't make unnecessary noise. That's not her style. Her quiet exit says more than words ever could. And those who've been paying close attention know that when she leaves, something sacred leaves with her. Because her presence isn't average or common. It brings light into dark spaces. It brings healing to broken people. It brings calm to chaotic environments. And when she's gone from a space, everything feels different. The atmosphere changes completely because what she brought can't be copied by anyone else. It can't be replaced. Toxic souls absolutely hate that truth. They hate that she won't play their games, won't stay to pretend everything's fine, won't lower her values to feel accepted by them. They hate that guilt doesn't work on her anymore. Chaos doesn't pull her in. She's too grounded now, too rooted in truth, too connected to her mission to let anything take her off course. There's a reason she doesn't explain herself anymore. Doesn't defend her silence, doesn't argue about her choices, because she understands that peace doesn't need to be explained or justified. You either feel it or you don't. And if you don't understand it, that's not her burden to carry. She didn't come here to be understood by everyone she encounters. She came here to protect her light, to live her truth, to walk in her calling without apology. And if leaving certain situations is what it takes to guard that, she'll walk away with grace and without hesitation. She's learned how to let go, not because it's easy or painless, but because it's necessary for her survival. She knows some people only show up in your life to teach you what to avoid next time. Some situations come just to remind you how valuable you actually are. And when their purpose ends, so does her presence in that space. She doesn't force anything to stay that wants to leave. She's finished watering dead plants that will never grow. Done explaining herself to people who benefit from her confusion. Done showing up where she's barely welcomed or appreciated. When she leaves, it's not out of anger or bitterness. It's out of care for herself. It's about honoring the woman she's becoming. The one who doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. The one who's not available for anything that doesn't grow her, heal her, or lift her spirit higher. That woman, she's unstoppable. And that's how you know she's protected by something greater. Because no matter how loud things get around her, no matter how tempting the mess looks, no matter how many people try pulling her back into old patterns, she walks away, not just with her feet, but with her heart, her energy, her spirit. She doesn't leave pieces of herself behind in broken places. She leaves whole. She leaves ready for what's next. That kind of wisdom, that kind of peace, that kind of self-love, it's not learned in books or seminars. That's learned through pain, through betrayal, through long nights of tears and quiet strength nobody witnessed. That's how she became this version of herself. A woman who doesn't just survive toxic energy, but rises above it completely. Because nothing evil can cling to a soul that is this aligned, this aware, this divinely covered by purpose. If you see even a trace of this in your own life, know this truth. You're not forgotten, you're not weak, and you're definitely not being punished for anything. You're being protected. And sometimes the greatest blessing isn't what shows up in your life, but what never reaches you in the first place. Walk boldly into your future. You are chosen for this.